How's it going, guys? So today I thought it'd be really fun just to throw together a video just highlighting three watches that I can think would make an outstanding three-watch collection. And for this video, I had some loose criteria that I wanted to follow, which I'll discuss now. Firstly, all of these watches are automatic. Secondly, you can find them, new or on the gray market for around the $500 price range. And also, they're all extremely versatile watches in their own right. But as you can see, based on my selection, they differ slightly in style and size. So let me just quickly give you a brief overview of each, going from left to right here. The first one is the Seiko Sarb 035. And this is what I consider more of your dress piece type watch. It's a 38mm case and just has some amazing specs. Dead center here, you got the Hamilton Khaki King, and this is more of your field / everyday watch. And then lastly on the right, you have the Glace Kombat Sub, which is your dive style / sports watch. But again, the case details on this just make it super thin and really easy to wear in multiple settings. I'm going to go over each one in a bit of detail and then throw on a wrist shot so you guys can see how they wear. And then I'll kind of just wrap up on my final thoughts on these guys. So I'm going to start with the Seiko Sarb 035. This is actually a fairly new acquisition for me, so stay tuned for a future full review of this piece. But as you guys might know, the Sarb series was said to be discontinued about this time last year. However, you can still find them on used watch forums or eBay. I actually picked this up from an authorized dealer off of eBay, straight from Japan. And yeah, it just looks amazing. So the Sarb series, again, it's kind of characterized as like the baby Grand Seiko. And the finishing on this is just exquisite. I mean, for around $500, you really are getting a dress style watch that punches way, way above its price point. I just really, really love that ivory type dial, as well as those applied, nicely faceted indices for the hour markings, and those beautiful dolphin hands. And I love that needle second hand as well. It's just really, really cool. On top of that, if you flip it to the side, you can see it's just finished really well. You got those beautiful transitions along the case between brushed and polishing. And then you also get a really nice display back, housing the Seiko 6R15 movement, which is 23 joules and has a 50-hour power reserve. So what's really nice about this watch too is that it is versatile. It doesn't just have to be a dress watch. It's a strap monster. You can dress it down on things like a NATO strap, or its stock bracelet's pretty good too. This is also a 100-meter water-resistant piece, so you can actually have this as more of an everyday watch, and you don't have to worry about the water resistance. You can take it swimming with you. I wouldn't dive with it, but it'll be good in the pool. It'll be good in the rain. If you're traveling, you don't really have to worry about it too much. Okay, guys, here's a wrist shot of the Seiko Sarb 035. As you can see, it's just gorgeous. I really like it on this distressed vintage tile olive strap. And again, it's really nice and narrow. It would fit under the cuff. Definitely versatile in the sense you can dress it up or dress it down. Alright guys, so this is the Hamilton Khaki King. You can see that it's a champagne dial. 40mm case, which is a really nice size for a field type watch. Unlike the other watches, I do enjoy the fact that this watch has Arabic hour markers from 1 to 12 essentially. And what I really like about this specific Khaki King is that you have a full day and a day complication at the 12 o'clock. And they're able to pull this off and still make the entire dial work fairly symmetrically. It's really neat how they did that. I do enjoy how well invisible this watch is. That champagne dial, I think, makes it a little more versatile because you could kind of dress it up. As you can see, with this vintage leather strap, I think it looks fairly dressy. It's a very slim profile. And similar to the Seiko Sub, it's also got a display back, which houses the Hamilton Caliber H40, which is a slightly modified ETA movement. But what's amazing about this one is they might have slowed down the vibrations power slightly, but it's got an insane 80-hour power reserve. So it's an even stronger power reserve than the Seiko Sub. Now this watch is water resistant to 50 meters, which is still really good. And again, that means you can still have this submerged in like a pool. You could shower with it or take it in the rain. But I wouldn't go diving with it, take it in the lake or anything like that. But it's an extremely versatile piece. Again, this is why this is kind of like the hallmark of the everyday watch, I would say. It's an amazing staple. And Hamilton has some great heritage too, It's got a lot of American heritage, and then it was picked up by the Swatch Group. So you will note that it says Swiss made on the bottom there. But you really can't go wrong with the Hamilton Khaki King. It's just perfect in almost every situation. So let me throw this guy in the wrist, and then I'll move on to the last watch, the Glace Kombat Sub. So guys, this is the Hamilton Khaki King on wrist. As you can see, fits my 7¼ inch wrist really, really nicely. And again, still thin enough to fit under the cuff, but versatile enough you can rock this with a pair of jeans as well. So overall, just an outstanding everyday watch. Okay guys, and that brings me to the last watch of this trifecta that I want to talk about, and that's your sports/dive watch. And for this one, given the criteria that I went after, I selected the Glace Kombat Sub. Now, for those of you who don't know, Glace is a Swiss-made watch company that's been around since 1914, and they produce some excellent watches for the money. So with this, you're getting your standard dive dimensions, 42 millimeters. A lot of divers can actually be quite larger than that, but I like, 42 is a sweet spot, I think, for a dive watch. And then look how low profile it is too. Most divers are usually typically 12 or more millimeters thick. This guy's just under 11 millimeters. And it just makes it really, really versatile in terms of, trying to dress it up if you really needed to. Again, being a diver, it's 200 meters of water resistance on a screw-down crown, which the other watches I mentioned do not have screw-down crowns. Being a dive watch, it's also extremely legible. The lume on this is excellent on all of the hour markings, as well as handset. And you do have a lume pip, of course, at the 12 o'clock position there, inside that triangle. Being a dive watch, it's also a unidirectional dive bezel. This is 60 click, no backplay whatsoever. Well, slight backplay, but everything lines up perfectly. Okay guys, and there's a shot of the Glace Kombat Sub on my wrist. And again, extremely low profile. I love how those lugs curve down and just hug your wrist. Very comfortable. And this is my weekend watch for sure, You can just take it for any occasion if I'm doing sports, if you're just visiting friends and being social. It's a really great piece. So let me wrap up with my final thoughts, guys. In conclusion, if you had to pick only 3 watches to have in your collection, you really can't go wrong with any of these watches. You have your perfect versatile dress piece, your more everyday type field watch, and then you have your sport, rugged, and durable dive type piece as well. And again, all of these can be found for around $500 Canadian. They're all automatic. But where they differ is, things like the dial colors. So I specifically picked one with a white dial, a champagne dial, and a black dial. And then from left to right, you have the differences in sizes, anywhere from 38 millimeters at the small end up to 42 in the large end. And I think you can demonstrate, on my wrist, which I think is a fairly common wrist size, maybe slightly large, you can wear any of these watches and they're totally acceptable. I used to think 38, I couldn't pull it off whatsoever, but then I put on the Sarb and I'm like, oh man, what am I missing? And then I feel right at home at 40 millimeters. I think that's a sweet spot for probably the majority of people. And then, of course, if you're wearing sports watches, if you want more wrist presence, people say, then definitely it's really nice to put on, a dive watch like the Glace Kombat Sub. So I think that wraps up this video that I wanted to do for you guys. Please let me know what you guys think would be perfect for your 3-watch collection, and if you agree with my findings. So thanks again for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.